Welcome to episode 13 of Learning
31.
the Ropes. Yeah, episode 407 of Learning the Ropes.
I'm dyslexic, so I get a pass.
My name is Matt. With me, as always, we got Andrew. Say hello,
Sup?
Andrew.
What up?
And we got the young lion, Tyler Ostos.
You'll ever see a dead body?
Once or
yes.
twice in my time.
Was it like
Why?
a fresh one, or was it a funeral?
It was a funeral.
Oh,
So
Same.
one time
well,
when I was
Matt, did you kill somebody?
no,
Oh, okay.
when I was in high school, but before I was at the high school where I met Birch, which is someone that me and Tyler know.
Another Matthew.
Yeah, just for Tyler to understand. I was on the bus on my way to school, and there was a lot of commotion, and we looked over, and someone was pointing out the window, and we saw someone, what we thought was passed out in their lawn, in my hometown, and then we later found out was dead on their lawn in my
Damn.
hometown.
So you saw a fresh one.
I saw a fresh one.
Man,
I saw one that was like 8 hours ish there. Apparently, this person had gone out drinking and like died.
so no one has like a Stand By Me type story where they went out to go see that like a corpse was just all like accidental.
Have you gone out to see a corpse?
No, I didn't have a great childhood. I didn't have any friends who wanted to do a Stand By Me.
Like on purpose. Like you're out actively looking for dead bodies. Like
You know, it's like a coming of age story.
yeah, that you're gonna force on yourselves.
Yeah,
Dude,
what a good
wanna
experience.
fuck my innocence. I should kill that bitch.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of dead things,
Hello.
we have someone's career to talk about.
Oh, spicy out the gate on that. Tyler, what do you know about Marty Jannetty?
Nothing. I feel like he might be a relative of mine potentially, but
So we
Oh,
have
no.
talked about Marty Jannetty before.
okay.
It's understandable why you forgot about him, to be honest. He is one half of the Midnight Rockers. His partner in that team is the greatest wrestler of all time, Shawn Micheals. And his name becomes fucking infamous in wrestling, but not for good reasons, which we'll get to after the match. Now, as you might remember, the Rockers, they were a high-flying tag team in the 80s and early 90s who like inspire tons of teams and singles wrestlers all the way to today. I could list them, like the Young Bucks, the Hardys, etc., etc. I've done this list many times. But not everything was looking great for the Rockers in the 90s, though.
Yeah. So they started to show dissension on screen in 1991 during a match between Shawn Micheals and Ric Flair. Shawn ended up outside the ring, and Marty Jannetty, his tag team partner who was in his corner, actually picked him up and rolled in the ring to get pinned by Ric Flair. Costing Shawn the match, and Shawn saw this as costing him the match, but Marty thought he was just preventing Shawn from getting counted out, and he just fed him straight to Ric Flair.
Now, there are a few more instances of dissension. Marty gets Shawn Michaels eliminated from the Survivor Series match that year, and they argue, and they lose their tag team match to the Legion of Doom, and where they kept arguing who was to blame again. This leads to the Rockers being booked to come on the Barbershop. It's another one of these wrestling talk shows that we have. Produced by Barber Beefcake, who is the host. Has the segment is pitched to be the Rockers working out their differences and trying to decide if they still want to be a team. We're actually gonna cut here to go and watch this clip.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is the first time we're doing a little extra backstage, or not backstage, I guess, like extra full like talk show clip kind of thing.
You knew he was gonna do that.
He knew it.
He said he knew he was gonna
Dude, they
do that
need
to
each
both
other.
the handshake
They
and the
they
other
need
one.
each other. That's what I'm talking about. I knew he was gonna do that.
All right, and we're back from our clip.
That was a cool clip. That was a cool clip.
Yeah, so they don't want to be a team anymore.
Seems like if someone did that to me, I probably wouldn't want to be their friend. If a girl did that to me, I'd marry them on the spot.
Oh.
You listening, Danny?
But yeah, so they clearly, based on Marty Jannetty running through a plate glass window to escape Shawn Michaels, I don't think they want to be a tag team anymore.
Yes, I don't think so.
Just kidding. Shawn Michaels is an absolute dickhole. And he puts his best friend through a window. And on screen wasn't the only place that Michaels and Jannetty were having issues. According
Also
to
in the bedroom? Man.
Maybe. Maybe. Definitely in the locker room.
That's like a different kind of bedroom.
Yeah, in a way. Some would say it's just as homoerotic. But yeah, according to Michaels, Marty Jannetty wanted to leave he wanted to leave the World Wrestling Federation for World Championship Wrestling, WCW. And Marty says it was Shawn's idea. Honestly, who fucking cares? It's like I was reading about it, and they both went back and forth about whose fault was what in talking about potential offers from WCW. But also a separate incident, according to Shawn's book Heartbreak and Triumph, there was a fist fight backstage between the Rockers after an inebriated Rowdy Roddy Piper, the GOAT, the absolute legend, in front of both of the Rockers just started talking about how great he thought Shawn was. Like just in front of Marty Jannetty, he started talking about how he thought Shawn Michaels was the future of the business and this really great like wrestler, and all three of them were drunk. And Marty Jannetty was like, "Oh yeah, you think Shawn's so great? Shawn, fight me right now." And Shawn was like, "No."
That's kind of like when you're like with your uncle and like he tells you that he likes you more than like his own kids, but in front of his own kids.
Yeah,
that's kind of like what that's like.
Yeah, that's it's a bit of a fucked up and funny thing to do, and he just instigates a real fist fight between Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty.
And now, following their breakup and the Barbershop Window segment, we don't see Marty Jannetty on TV until after Shawn Michaels wins the Intercontinental Championship from the British Bulldog and challenges Bret Hart for the WWF title at Survivor Series, a match we saw last week. Jannetty, upon returning, challenges Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble.
And in the lead up to the Rumble, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels would have confrontations on the newly debuted Monday Night Raw. So this is around when Raw starts, and we get a weekly wrestling television show for the first time.
And most notably on these on Raw, Marty Jannetty would attempt to smash Shawn Michaels in the head with his heart-shaped mirror that he would carry around to look at himself with. Oh. And Michaels would actually grab his manager, Sensational Sherry, and put her in pull her in the way of the mirror, smashing, and then Jannetty would smash it over her head.
Oh my
instead.
God, that's hardcore! Holy shit! Oh.
Yeah, and so that
honestly
inspires...
that's kind of like the Sigma mindset, though, you know.
Oh yeah,
kind of a Sigma move.
No time for women. You're on your grind. Hit them with a mirror.
Exactly.
But yeah, that leads to questions about whose corner Sherry might actually be in, because Shawn pulled her in front of a mirror, and yet also Marty Jannetty hit her with a mirror. So Who knows, man?
And now, the stage is set. The Sleep Train Arena in Sacramento, California. Let's go to the Royal Rumble 1993 and watch the match. And we're back from the match.
Back from the match.
Tyler, what are your initial thoughts right away?
I mean, Shawn Michaels is a great heel. He's so much fun to watch. Like, you hate him, but you're like, he's fun. I want to see him stick around, you know?
Yeah.
His whole entrance, he's just so catty, and it's great.
Well,
And the match itself was fucking great. Shawn has some great sells. He fucking flops like like a ragdoll. Though the ending was a little weird with the whole
bit.
Sherry thing. That's kind of weird. And maybe it's because it's like modern day, and you're like, like in hindsight, that looks more fucked up.
Yeah, they really make it seem like Shawn might hit her, and I don't know how to feel about it.
That really makes it sound like he's about to beat this woman up.
yeah, well, so some kind of like post-match stuff to talk about in terms of like after this program is done. So at the top of the show, I alluded to the fact that Marty Jannetty's name becomes infamous in wrestling.
Yes. And
Tyler,
you also said something about a career dying.
Yes, so Tyler, have you heard of someone being called the Marty Jannetty of a team before?
Yes.
So the Jannetty becomes a term for the person who's the least successful and forgotten, the least successful and forgotten part of a tag team after they break up.
Yeah, there's a funny feud between The Miz and John Morrison when they were a tag team over who was the Jannetty of their team.
Yeah, it's just one of those terms that becomes like a normal wrestling term. Is this person's the Jannetty of this team? You know, it's kind of weird and fucked up.
Yeah, it's especially fucked up because like you'll see comments on Reddit like right now currently it seems like they're heading towards like splitting the tag team the Street Profits up, and there are people who are like Angelo Dawkins is the Marty Jannetty, like, and they've been saying that since like the Street Profits debuted, like, and it's like this kind of fucked up to like say that about somebody. And there's is like, oh yeah, I see this tag team, like one of those guys is way the fuck worse.
When you guys suck. It's like a couple where it's like,
like, we know that when you eventually break up, one of you's gonna be nothing, and the other's gonna be like the future of the business.
Literally, yeah. Like one of you is gonna be single forever, and one of you is gonna be fine in a month.
Yeah. Now I also mentioned a career dying, so following this match,
was it the ref? Because he's fucking dead. That ref.
Yeah, he got fucking.
He did get fucked up.
He's paralyzed forever.
But so following this match, Shawn would actually accuse Marty Jannetty backstage of working under the influence, and that being the reason why this match wasn't up to a standard. There's a lot of like weird stuff about this match where like backstage it wasn't like really well regarded, but by like reporters and stuff, people liked this match. It's kind of like a weird thing that kind of happens there. But yeah, so Marty's accused of working under the influence, and that actually leads to him getting fired following this match. And originally the plan was for this feud to go all the way into WrestleMania. And at WrestleMania it was going to be Shawn versus Marty for the Intercontinental Championship again. But yeah, Marty gets fired. He actually comes back shortly after WrestleMania. He gets rehired after Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, finally is able to convince Vince that it was just Shawn being catty and a bitch backstage, and that it wasn't actually true. But then even after that, Marty would end up being leaving WWF again, following a court case brought up by one Charles Austin, who had his neck broken by Marty Jannetty, and like as the court case neared, they decided Marty Jannetty at WWF decided to part ways. And then following that, he would like make sporadic appearances, but he kind of just becomes a forgotten part of wrestling.
Yeah. And so like most of the backstage stuff, I think, because it leads to not being able to capitalize on, like, you hear when he goes to save Sensational Sherry backstage after the match is over, he goes to like save her from Shawn Michaels, and there's actually like a pretty big pop, like the crowd cheers for him, but he can't like stick around to capitalize on that. And like already, even after like the barbershop segment, he was gone for like a really long time, and so it was just
he was gone for almost a year because he
Yeah.
assaulted an officer who was put under house arrest.
yeah.
Oh. I mean, to be fair, that's kind of cool to be honest. But yeah,
Yeah, so it was just
Um,
like this.
I'm conflicted.
He would pick up momentum, and then something outside of outside of his, I don't want to say outside of his control, because you can kind of control if you're gonna punch a cop.
yeah.
I mean, it's really hard. I mean, like, I just want to grab their gun, so I get it sometimes, you know?
No, I don't blame him for punching a cop.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But it's not like it's kind of accepted by modern society that you're gonna get in trouble if you do that.
Well, so was pedophilia for a while. It doesn't make it right. Anyway,
Whole
yes, not punching a cop is like being
Yeah.
a pedophile. Cut this.
Oof.
We're gonna get taken down, but I mean, I'm correct, but we're gonna get reported by the FBI.
Yeah.
You say that as though me and you aren't already on a list, Tyler.
Oh my god, my FBI agent's got a whole book. God,
Dude,
that
just careful,
poor
because eventually
soul.
they'll knock on your door, dude.
I know they will. That's the scary
They'll-
part, right? Like it's
They'll
gonna
roll
happen.
up.
One
They'll
day.
roll up and be like, "Hey, like, hand you papers that say like, here's this post. Here's this post we saw. Any other posts like this will be taken as legitimate threats." Like,
Literally, yeah, they're gonna do that.
um,
Maybe I should like fake how insane I am, so that way they'll send me money, so I can buy a gun. But then just buy a car with it.
So
Instead.
just control
them.
H, just control F your Twitter feed and replace communism with capitalism.
Yeah, like become like a weird right winger, so that way they'll send me money to support my bad acts. But then I don't do them. I just like buy coffee makers. Anyway,
Anyway, all that's getting cut out.
yeah. Anyway, yeah.
it
So
was
basically,
fun for us.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically Marty Jannetty doesn't get to be super over because he has to go away really quickly, and one half of a tag team returning isn't always like the guaranteed pop that returns usually are. And so Marty Jannetty showing up is like, eh? And it's not to disparage Marty Jannetty. I think he's pretty great I think he's pretty good in this match, you know? And like he was good in the Rockers and everything. He just couldn't quite get all the way over.
It was just timing. It was a
Yeah.
timing thing for him. Like who knows? In a different timeline, we might be talking about Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels in the same way that we talk about Brett and Shawn.
Yeah.
You know,
Unlikely.
Marty Jannetty out there still kind of
He-
wrestling.
He
Connected in
doesn't.
some
I
ways?
mean, he
Yeah.
doesn't have the charisma though of like either Shawn or Brett. Is
Yeah.
the thing. Like in any way, he like doesn't have the charisma. Like, sure, he's a good wrestler, but like the second, I mean, like, and maybe like some of that's kind of like hindsight, but like, yeah, like he lacks the charisma.
He's definitely overshadowed by Shawn.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the theme of like why the Jannetty becomes a term, is because he was always kind of overshadowed by Shawn.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
now let's talk about the match proper a little bit more. So we know what Tyler thinks about the finish. What do you think about just like some of the moves we got to see in that? Yeah.
The finish I didn't like,
Yeah.
but and to be honest, like with this match, like I liked his sells and his flops more than I liked his actual moves from Shawn Michaels. And
Mhm.
overall I kind of felt like Jannetty like was kind of unremarkable to some extent. Like I don't know, like I did never see myself being like that was a cool move. I was like, how was a cool sell, you know? Like
Yeah.
the cells felt bigger than the moves a lot of the time.
Yeah, I kind of found that the match didn't really seem to have like a cohesive story.
Yeah, because like it was just kind of beaten. I mean, like this, like the start of it was Jannetty getting kind of like pounded on, and then most of the match was just Shawn just fucking taking it, and then the ending was weird, not
Yeah.
paced very well.
And they don't
They
really like tease that at all. It just like in you would think that like if the finish is having the manager involved that they would tease like
The manager more, like
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
around the ring.
like she has the spot where she slaps Shawn outright before the actual like finish of the match with her, or like the spot with her shoe and stuff. Um
Yeah,
but other than that, they didn't really do anything. Like I found myself not really knowing why I believed she would like side with Jannetty up until like she slaps Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, okay, well there it is. But there wasn't like, I didn't feel that there was a big rift, you know?
yeah.
Or
It
that
all
she
felt
like
very.
had strong feelings.
right.
It
It's
felt
like
manufactured. I mean, like, which sounds dumb because like it's all manufactured, but it felt like extra manufactured just to like make somebody feel something, but it just kind of didn't hit.
right because you think about like the mega powers exploding, which I think this is like
Elizabeth,
right. Elizabeth is such a better manager than Sherry.
yeah, and like to be honest, and that like I don't like Elizabeth really, but that works better if you're gonna tell that kind of story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I like that kind of story, but if you're gonna tell that, you need something more like Elizabeth.
Yeah, I also felt like a thing I missed was Shawn spends a bunch of time working Jannetty's shoulder, and it doesn't really
It
feel
doesn't
like it
go
plays
anywhere.
into the match. Like it's just
Yeah.
he does it for a while. There's not really like a bit where like you'd see now, or even like with Brett and stuff at the time, where like Jannetty would have to pick Shawn up and then like drop him because his shoulder is like too hurt. Like you don't get like that spot. It's just Shawn spent some time working the shoulder, and then like the rest of the match just happens.
Yeah. And like it ends, yeah, like it's weird, like how like the whole, I mean, like the whole reason why he kind of ends up getting the finisher is that his manager hits Kennedy with a shoe, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know, it felt weird.
I feel like the shoe should have like it's the kind of thing where it also doesn't make sense logically because Shawn Michaels is also just hitting him with a shoe.
Yeah.
You know, at the end, so it's like
Yeah.
you kind of wish it was like I kind of wish it was like a piece of the mirror or something that like
Tied it back.
She stabs him to death.
Yeah.
Just like Bobby Heenan would have wanted.
But it's like it feels awkward that it's the shoe. And the hit doesn't really work that well compared to like if it were obviously the mirror would be like kind of dangerous, but like you know something else that kind of maybe calls back, because like the whole point of the mirror too was that it was like kind of reflecting back on like it was like a callback to the window, the barbershop window.
I
Yeah.
like how you said reflecting back, and you're like, it's a fucking mirror. God damn it! I can't say that. I'm gonna start sounding you too philosophical. It's reflecting on Shawn himself, and then
Yeah.
But it's meant to be like a vague callback to the barbershop window.
yeah,
And so I would have liked to see it like kind of tied back together at the end, having it be something like that, I guess. But you know, I guess he also kicks Marty Jannetty during that segment. So I guess this is a callback to every single Shawn Michaels super kick is a callback to the
to the barbershop window. Yeah,
Yeah.
And Marty Jannetty took the shit out of that Sweet Chin Music, dude.
Yeah.
He hit Whisper in the Wind off of it. That's a reference Tyler won't get. but Matt and the fans know. The real ones know. But yeah, that I thought was funny. I didn't personally mind the shoe that much. I'm working up to his sneeze. It's gonna be great. There we go. But yeah, I didn't mind the shoe that much. It felt like it did feel kind of impromptu. But like I thought that I don't know, it was kind of weird to me because like Marty Jannetty grabs Shawn and is like, "Yeah, Sherry, get all your hits in," and she like comes in after Shawn had elbowed the referee to death. But yeah, I don't know. It felt like it did feel kind of weird, but a little bit lackluster.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise I thought it was pretty alright. Dude, R.I.P. the referee.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Heenan choosing violence all the time.
Always violence.
Always violence.
What a freak Bobby Heenan is.
What a silly guy.
Like, yeah, it's uncomfortable sometimes watching Bobby Heenan or listening to Bobby Heenan talk.
A little bit.
It's a
He
little
feels
uncomfortable.
dated.
He
in some
feels
ways.
very dated, yes.
And that will, I promise, be a running theme of professional wrestling. Is
feels
feeling
dated
sort of dated.
Up until the year 2022, it feels dated still.
Yeah.
No, actually, it feels pretty good right now.
We don't watch WWE weekly.
Oh, I see. Is it okay?
To be fair, it hasn't been that bad recently. I feel like it's aside from the Vince McMahon stuff in real life, I feel like it's been okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that, let's move on to the next segment. Let's talk ratings. Andrew, what do you give this match out of in the Meltzer scale?
I think I'll give it 3. I think 3.
3 sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 stars. It was definitely not like it's not super great. But it's definitely like it's far from bad. I feel like I wouldn't want to go backstage and accuse someone of working that match under the influence. I'd be okay-ish with that match if I were Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it 2.5. Just down the middle. Just kind of a nothing match to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't offensive to watch, but like pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of things. We mainly watched this to talk about this feud, which is very iconic, but it's one of those weird ones where it's a really iconic thing that happens, but it's like the iconic thing that happens is the barbershop window and not the match itself.
Yeah.
Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Meet in the middle, like 2.75. It's weird. I had fun watching this match. Is the thing. Like I had fun watching it, but like I didn't love it, and like it wasn't really like that like interesting. And like if it told like a better story, I think I probably would go higher because it's still fun to watch, but like it just wasn't that great. So probably like 2.75. Like
Yeah.
it just wasn't cohesive.
Now, Mr. Big Dave. Andrew, what do you think Mr. Big Dave gave this match? Friend of the show, Big Dave.
What do I think friend of the show Big Dave gave this match?
Give it a 3.21.
3.21. I you know, 3.25 I could see, maybe
2-1.
maybe like I could see him anywhere within our range of ratings.
I had to like quadruple check because his rating didn't make sense to me. And I checked multiple different sources, and this is his rating for this match. Mr. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer rates Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty at the Royal Rumble 1993 4 stars.
What?
4 whole ass stars?
4 big ones.
Dude. All right, Dave. All right.
Is he a fan of women being hit?
Maybe at the time.
We should check that. We should see every time.
Wait.
Let's
Cut
not.
that.
Wait, cut that.
Let's not allege that about friend of the show, Big Dave Meltzer.
Oh
He's
man,
too busy. He's too busy watching wrestling.
we got some bits tonight.
We've had some bits, yeah.
And now, with that, final words, guys. Final words for tonight. Anyone got anything?
By popular demand, go fuck yourself.
The consistency is key. Go fuck yourself consistently.
Dude, come on, Eileen, you dumb son of a bitch.
And with that, remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you all next week.